Good morning, YouTube. I first want to start off giving a big thank you. This is my breakfast edition, of course, just looking over some of this news that's going on over and over again. I mean, the re-emergence of bath salts. But before I get into that, I would like to give a big hug to the sister from New Orleans that donated to my channel. You are my first donation, and I would like to say thank you. I don't find it proper to call names from donators because of the privacy issue. And you know, when you make donations, you have to use your real name. So I just want to say thank you. Much love to you. I hope that everything's going well with the weather that you're getting in New Orleans. I have family down there. My family lives across the bridge in a more rural area. But I hope and I pray that all is well with you and your family. And like I said, thanks again for your donations. They're well appreciated and needed. So I'm going to go into some of this news. I'm going to start here with these officers. Now, you see the officer here.
Be thankful for that. We have a sturdy metal steel desk
that
my dad had given us many years ago.
This is still talking about the storms that people are experiencing across the country. As I said in a previous video, I think that Mother Nature is angry. Drop said in his video last night that they destroyed paradise and put up a parking lot. So true. Now you see this lady's feet are off the ground. A male is handling this lady. She says she works right there. Why was she up in the air?
Shocking. I was going to say, Tiffany, it's been a long time since I've heard anything as bizarre as what the sheriff here in Martin County just outlined. He says this 19-year-old student who's been identified as Austin Kelly Haroof, he's an FSU student who's here for 20 brothers visiting his
picking for me what I watch next.
Two strangers in their garage, causing them, giving them one of the most violent and traumatic attacks that even seasoned detectives here have ever seen. They say that Haroof was at dinner with his parents at Duffy's on Indiantown Road. He became upset. He walked out. They actually called the police to report that he'd gone off. He goes to the garage of two people, John Stevens and his wife, Michelle Mishkon. They're sitting in their garage as they often did, and the sheriff says the attack there was just horrendous. It included possibly a switchblade and possibly garden tools or other sharp instruments he found.
Inside that garage.
My apologies.
And both victims sustained massive trauma on multiple portions of their body. There were lacerations, stab wounds, and
my thing is now, it's not even safe to sit with your garage door open. You have to sit inside of your home like you're in a jail cell. And, you know, if nothing else motivates us to get out of here, these news stories should. So I'm going to continue.
And the sheriff says the wife was killed there in the garage, but the husband, John Stevens, fought back as best he could. Somehow the fight went out into the driveway where Haroof stabbed him repeatedly, and then when the first deputy arrived, he was actually biting his face and tearing at his flesh. Now, both of those victims did die. It took several officers, a canine, as well as several attempts at tasing. They say that Haroof was at dinner with his parents at Duffy's on Indiantown Road. He became upset. He walked out. They actually called the police to report that he'd gone off. He goes to the garage of two people, John Stevens and his wife, Michelle Mishkan. They're sitting in their garage as they often did, and the sheriff says the attack there was just horrendous. It included possibly a switchblade and possibly garden tools or other sharp instruments he found in the garage. Let's listen to the sheriff.
It was very obvious that there was an enormous amount of violence inside that garage, and both victims sustained massive trauma on multiple occasions.
So they are sitting in their garage, and he's upset after coming from dinner, and he decides to go in these people's garage and murder them and bite their face. I mean, come on, people. Come on. I mean, come on. What next?
Of their body, there were lacerations, stab wounds, and blunt trauma.
And the sheriff says the wife was killed there in the garage, but the husband, John Stevens, fought back as best he could. Somehow the fight went out into the driveway where Harith stabbed him repeatedly, and then when the first deputy arrived, he was actually biting his face and tearing at his flesh. Now, both of those victims did die. It took several officers, a canine, as well as several attempts at tasering before they got Harith into custody. They took him to the hospital, where they said he was incoherent and making animal-like sounds, growling and grunting. He was tested for the presence of drugs, so far negative, they say, on heroin and opiates, but the sheriff says it does sound like it possibly could be some drug like flocka or bath salts, because he did take off some of his clothing. At this point, the sheriff said the mystery is, what is the motive behind this unprovoked attack by a 19-year-old FSU college student with no criminal background and who was apparently making good grades.
Right, a man describes a husband and wife who were killed as the life of the neighborhood. They would often invite people over to their garage where they have a bunch of couches and a big screen television. That couple is dead. Their neighbors is in the hospital with 7 stab wounds.
He's recovering. He's got multiple stab wounds.
A worried father talking about his 47-year-old son, Jeff Fisher. He says the problem began Monday night when his son heard someone screaming outside. Fisher ran across the street and soon found a young man on top of his neighbor, a man who was biting off pieces of his neighbor's face. Fisher tried to help, but was stabbed.
I mean, he was trying to break the fight up, and the guy turned on him, and thank God Jeff hadn't had enough sense to get back in the house.
Fisher called 911. A female deputy was the first to arrive. She tried to get the man off the victim, but it didn't work. She used a taser. It didn't work either. More deputies arrived.
But there were 6 guys, I think, around him, trying to pull him off of the person, John Stevens, and amazing strength for what was going on. They turned the dog loose on him, and it just didn't really good.
Investigators say after a lengthy struggle, deputies were fired.
Of a report of a man at the bus stop with what appeared to be a weapon. This weapon was later determined to be a metal signpost that has a spade on the bottom, which is sharp to push into the ground to hold the sign in. The adult male took the post and struck one of the security guards, inflicting injury upon the security guard. This required medical attention. As security radioed for additional help and to call 911, a Fairfax County deputy sheriff on duty assigned to the hospital heard the radio traffic as per their policy to be connected to the radio traffic of the security staff. The Fairfax County deputy sheriff, who was in full duty uniform and is crisis intervention team trained, attempted to negotiate with the adult male to de-escalate his episode. Unfortunately, the adult male raised the post and began charging at the deputy sheriff. The deputy sheriff gave orders for the adult male to cease his activity. At the same time, the man kept on coming at the deputy sheriff, while the deputy sheriff, with weapon drawn, was tactically trying to retreat.
Practically trying to retreat. Yeah, that's enough of that bad news. Now, as I said before, and I have headphones on because I'm working, of course. We're living in a time that's getting more and more insane. And you can go on over to Jay Bossman 008, and he does a great job at compiling the insanity that's going on worldwide, whether it be weather or people. This is another good channel. And again, I'm just feeling loved. Another shout out to the sister that donated to my channel. I'm not feeling the love because you donated. I am feeling the love because you cared to donate. Me and my family are trying to get out of here, and it's not going to happen just by being on YouTube making videos. Of course, I work, and I have been going over, like I said, all of my past jobs to try to find any money that was left behind. Because when you're young, you just leave a job. You never think about all of the deductions that were coming out. I even went to the Social Security website to see if there's a way I could get my Social Security early. And of course, there is not. And if you retire early, you don't get your full benefits. Excuse me, it's early still. I just like to say thank you. Thank you for caring enough. I'm pretty sure your situation is not bigger than your heart. It just feels good to know somebody cares. And I'm going to tell you a story. I know I'm supposed to be showing this news, but I still have a story, and it's only 15 minutes worth of video. The day that I received your donation, and if you're out there listening, nothing but love to you. I had just released an invoice that I had not been paid for my product, and it had been out there for now about 2 months. And just randomly, I went on to PayPal and I canceled the invoice. People, sometimes you have to give back. I don't know where I'm looking at, but sometimes you have to give back. You can't operate a business and never give things. When I went home, I posted some of the pictures on Instagram where I was giving my product out. I intended to sell the product, and when I got there, I just decided, let me give it out, give somebody else, the opportunity to use my product, no strings attached. And I only asked of them one thing, that when you run out, that you reorder. Support black businesses. My product is legit, and it's just one of many. I am kind of behind on the creation of my other things as far as the black soap is concerned, as far as the hair oils and all that, because packaging is expensive, and then I don't want to just buy from a distributor that doesn't care about people. You have to give back. I was going to place an order for containers, and the order was like 300 and something, and then the shipping was like 40 something, and I called the company and they were just cold, so I didn't order. So long story short, when you operate a business, you have to give back, and that's why I have much respect to King Drop as well. I signed up for his VIP package, and I hadn't sent any songs in, or I did send songs in, and they weren't converted yet. They're converted as of today. Thank you, King Drop. But he sent me 2 free months. And that meant a lot to me. He sent me a refund, for that. And I appreciate it. Like, it's something he didn't have to do, nor was I requiring him to do so. But that you have to give back. You have to care about your supporters, so to speak. So nothing but love to you, sister. I had just released the invoice that I had not been paid for, and the turnaround on our creator is amazing. As soon as I released that invoice, no more than, I would say, 10 minutes later, I received a donation in the amount of the invoice. And I'm telling y'all, man, the creator he's always blessed me, no matter what. So just give back, pay it forward.